All right. So, hello, everyone. Welcome to our new and now webinar. This is where we'll dive into all the latest and greatest from Microsoft and Logitech. My name's Danielle Q. I'm a Global Alliance Manager here at Logitech, and I'll be your host today. We have a fantastic lineup of participants for you from Logitech. We have Rishi Kumar and Alex Mooney, and Caitlin Mode helping us out in chat. And joining us from our wonderful partners at Microsoft, we have, please welcome Michelle Bowman. Today's agenda is absolutely packed. And before we dive too far into it, I'd love to hear what folks are most exciting to hear from us about today. Please, take our poll. Let's get some interaction going. AI workplace, facilitator and Teams rooms, rally board. I'm actually most excited to hear about the customers and use cases that inspired Express Install. So I'm going to vote for that myself. Good, my response has been recorded. All right, well, while folks keep filling out the poll, let me talk to you a bit about today's agenda. So it's absolutely packed. We're going to explore the AI-powered workplace, deep dive into Copilot and Facilitator agent, cover Express install, Windows 11 and Android 12 upgrades, and and Logitech's certified native Bluetooth headset portfolio. But before we jump into the content, I'd love to hand it over to you, Rishi, to share a bit more about the purpose of this webinar series and the shared vision of our teams.
Thanks, Danielle. And of course, thanks to Caitlin and the team for putting this together. So I'd like to do two things. First, just to add to what Danielle said, uh, welcome everyone. And we really appreciate you spending this time with us. I'm actually here in Redmond, Washington, US West Coast. So it is 4 a.m. here. So apologies if I sound a little groggy, but thanks to the wonders of Teams and, of course, all of our devices, I get to work from anywhere. So it's always a pleasure. So thank you for being here. Uh, I did want to uh, walk you through a few webinar series that we have for you, including this one. So this is obviously a new series. It's called New and Now with our partners at Microsoft. And the idea is to come to you at least once a quarter with all the new happenings around the solutions that we're developing together. As you can see from this agenda here, we've got quite packed uh, set of things that we want to talk to you about. But there are some other great webinar series that we offer with a slightly different focus. I am going to place the links in the chat, but let me just walk you through them. We have another webinar series called Talk Techie to Me. So if you are a techie and you want to deep dive into demos, have tons of technical questions, please do sign up for that. Another webinar series we have is called Next Up. That focuses entirely on all our software releases. We do have an operating system called ColabOS, which we use with our Teams Rooms and Android solutions, and it does have frequent updates. So that's a great webinar series if you want to keep up to date on all the software updates. Typically, once a year, we also have a major launch event called Logi Launch. So I'll share the link to that as well. We just had one recently about 2 months ago. So please sign up for that and you will get updates on all future major launch events. And lastly, if you are a channel partner, uh, we have regular training updates for you as well. You will have to be registered with us through our Connect partner program. And once you're registered, you will get regular updates. So again, welcome. Thank you for being here. And I will post all those webinar links in the chat for you momentarily. So let's get started, Danielle. Without further ado, back to you and let's jump into this awesome agenda.
Yeah, thanks, Rishi. Um, Michelle, can you get us started with the AI-powered workplace?
Yeah, for sure. Let me start by saying thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks to the Logitech team for setting this up, but thanks for all of those that are joining for the amazing partnership that we've been having with you as a Microsoft Teams partner or customer. I think it's interesting if you think about it. People are. I think we kind of figured out hybrid work or starting to figure out hybrid work, But what a lot of people are saying, about half of the people, as a matter of fact, is that when they come to work, they don't really get to see the people that matter to them. So often that trip to the office that people take, like once, twice, maybe 3 times a week, is a lost opportunity to get meaningful face time and collaborate with people in person. And despite these missed opportunities, meetings are still happening at a considerable rate. I think meetings have doubled or tripled over the last couple of years, with hybrid and remote meetings helping to keep people's calendars full, very full, as a matter of fact. Yet those meetings are very questionable of value. We have this stat, and the stat is that it's about a study that has found that $37 billion is wasted annually in the U.S. alone on unproductive meetings. Now, I know we have mostly European folks on the call today, and us in Europe, we like to have a pre-meeting about the meeting, and then we'll have the meeting itself, and then we'll have a meeting about the meeting, right? So I think that number's up there as well, and I think that's something that we really have to figure out. So when we speak about the AI-powered workplace, it's really about three different pillars. The first one is being able to coordinate productively, right? So get some improved coordination and booking across flexible workplaces to know that when you get to the office, you actually get to meet the people that matter to you. And it's not just that, right? It's also getting insights on what's a good day to go into the office based on who else is there. If you need a meeting room, let's see if we can give you some help to book that meeting room as well. So that's the first pillar. The second pillar is to make sure that we modernize the workspace, and that's where Teams Rooms comes into play. Teams Rooms these days is so much more than just a good meeting device. And we'll go a little bit deeper on the session today. It now brings digital signage. It brings the integration with Copilot and agents, which we'll talk about. And then it brings the integration with places. So it's really a multifunctional device these days that ensures that people get to meet in a more effective way, and just instead of just fiddling around with cables and tools that they might not want to use, but they are forced to use if that is not set up correctly. So, first pillar, being able to coordinate. The second one is being able to modernize the workplace. And then the third one is, a lot of people, a lot of leaders are saying that it's difficult to understand how the office is currently being utilized. Some studies even show that 65% of global office space remains underutilized. And that's really a waste of real estate. If you look at the two most important things, or most expensive things in your company, one is real estate, and the second one is people. And I think that's what we need to figure out with this AI powered workplace. And then we got all this functionality coming into Teams Rooms. Rishi, maybe you can speak a little bit about IntelliFrame and Multicam and how Logitech looks at that.
Yeah, I'd love to. And maybe first to build on what you said around the AI powered workplace, there are a few pillars here, being the ability to coordinate, right? I think you're alluding to Microsoft Places and all the uh, intelligent things you do with regard to booking. So Logitech supports that. We have products like the Tab Scheduler, which is our version of the Teams panel. And then, of course, there is Copilot, which we'll talk about momentarily. But coming back to multi-stream, this is essentially the ability to take multiple people in a meeting room and put them in their individual tile and do it through multiple streams so that each stream can be treated individually. And that can facilitate another feature, which we will be launching soon, where we essentially add the name tag to the individual. Now, this creates a more equitable user experience for your remote attendees. So creating intelligent meetings is obviously part of that AI powered workplace. So this feature is available currently as beta on Teams Rooms on Windows. It's available for our Rally Power and Rally Power Mini. And momentarily, I will paste a link in the chat that will also show how it can be easily enabled via settings. So again, this is how we're delivering intelligent meetings, a really concrete example. And then, of course, we're going to get to Copilot and the facilitator agent next. So, Michelle, why don't I hand it over to you to talk about that aspect of the AI powered workplace?
Yeah. So if we look at the three pillars, by the way, we know that in 2 out of 3 calls that we have, or 2 out of 3 meetings that we have at least one virtual participant, right? And so if we want to run an inclusive and immersive meetings, there are 3 pillars that are important. Number one is good audio. If there's no audio, there's basically no meeting, right? If my audio stops working right now, this whole session becomes kind of worthless, at least the part that I'm delivering. So good audio is one. The second one is being able to see each other and to be seen. Now that's not about 4K video, not at all. You don't want to see me in 4K. I'm self-aware of what I look like. So 4K not needed. What is needed though, and that's well, multi-stream plays an important role, is being able to pick up nonverbal communication, right? So being able to pick up a frown or a smile or something happening in the face that gives you a little bit of an idea of what that person is thinking without them saying anything. Now, the third one is being able to recognize people. And as much as I love Copilot, it does create what we call, or it could create what we call an AI blind spot if you don't have a Teams rooms in the room. And I'll explain why. Let's say we're on a meeting and Rishi's there and Danielle's there and Alex is there. I can't join for some reason, and they're discussing a project. And Danielle's like, "I love the project. I think it's a great idea." And Rishi's like, "Well, I'm not too sure about it." And Alex is like, "I just hate the whole idea together." If I go to Copilot and ask what was discussed around Project X, or what was the sentiment around Project X, without having a Teams rooms in the room, it will say, project or meeting room 1245 loved the project, then wasn't sure about it, and then hated it. So now I have to go back into the meeting and kind of figure out who said what, where, to make sense of it all. Now, because of multi-stream and being able to do speaker recognition in the room, it adds so much more value to Copilot because it will actually say Danielle said she loved it. Alex wasn't too sure about it, and Rishi didn't like it. So now I can go to Rishi and see and figure out why he didn't like the project in the first place. The second thing is, if you look at meetings in itself, there I could rant on for hours, and I know we don't have time. Our meetings should all be shorter. They should be no longer than 25 minutes. They should have no more than 6 to 7 people, all for various reasons. But the three biggest productivity disruptors in meetings is one, people showing up late. Now that's annoying in itself, but also they have to be brought up to speed. The second one is no clear notes. As much as we might disagree, it's impossible for us as humans to multitask. And then the third one is having not having any clear actions from the meeting. You notice you were in a meeting last Wednesday, and it was one of those recurring meetings. And next week they're gonna ask you if you followed up on the action, so you kind of forgot about it because you was listening to a Logitech webinar. That stuff happens every week, right? And I thought I heard someone laughing. I think that person recognized this whole scenario. What's going to help you there is the facilitator agent. So what Facilitator does, it's an AI that you bring into the meeting, and it does all of those things that I just mentioned. So it takes notes in real time. It also writes down the actions, and you can connect it to your planner or your to-do app, and it'll show up in those apps as well. So now you have a professional note taker, someone that writes down the actions, and occasionally it will also nudge you and say, "Hey, you're at the halfway point. You've discussed these topics, but you haven't answered these questions." That facilitator agent is now also available on Microsoft Teams Rooms. This also works great for those ad hoc meetings. So you've been there where you're in the office and you have a 3-person meeting. You haven't booked the room, but you see that there's one available. You might just pop into that room, but again, you need someone to take notes. Now you simply, as you see here on the display, you scan the QR code on the front of room display, and just like that, you add the facilitator agent in your meeting room to ad hoc meetings to ensure you have the notes, clear actions, and the follow up. They're all in one place. Again, it's available now in public preview. It doesn't require any extra licenses on top of the Teams Rooms Pro license. So I encourage you all to start trying this.
Thanks, Michelle. I'm curious to hear from the audience. What's the biggest challenge you see in creating smarter workplaces? As Michelle said about Facilitator, being able to have a reliable third, fourth, or fifth party taking notes for everyone, I think is a game changer, especially in some of our team meetings where everybody might be keeping their individual notes, but not capturing the exact same sentiment. So let's see, employee resistance to change and adoption of tools. Oh, yes, what will we do about people? Let's see, data privacy and security concerns. Luckily, Microsoft is always great about making sure we have um, the privacy needs met. Yep, employee resistance. So it's still us at the end of the day, right? The people.
Well,
Uh,
let me just react to that, Danielle,
sure.
because it's such an important point, and that's why you need to ensure that you keep meetings simple. Right? We get asked a lot, and it's the same for the Logitech team. Can we add an extra button to the display? Can we change the UI? Now, I'm making the assumption that many of us on the call today, we know exactly how this technology works, right? But there's a lot of users out there that are not tech savvy at all. All they need is to have that one button that they push to join a meeting. And that's all they need to know about. As much as us nerds, and please take that as a compliment, I'm one myself as well, as much of us nerds love to do pan, zoom, tilt, and do all kinds of complicated stuff, most users don't really care about that. So keep meetings as simple as possible. Don't don't force them to fiddle around with cables and things. Just walk up to that console, to that controller, push the one button to let them join a meeting to ensure that you drive faster adoption of these technologies.
That's great. Speaking of simple, smart technology, something we're really thrilled about here at Logitech is the new Rally Board 65 for Microsoft Teams rooms. Alex, can you walk us through the differentiated features and the simplicity of this product?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So Rallyboard 65 is our newest and it's our largest product that we've ever built. And it's a really exciting new addition to the portfolio. We obviously have a wide array of products ranging from the smallest of rooms to the largest. And a Rallyboard 65 is in that all-in-one display category that we've kind of had missing for a while. So we're excited to bring this and add it to our incredible portfolio. We designed Rallyboard 65 with a lot of flexibility in mind. So we designed it to not only fit into our portfolio with flexibility around both Teams rooms on Android and the ability to connect that Windows PC for a Teams rooms on Windows experience, but we also added a ton of really cool features that enable some use cases, and I'll share a little bit about that in a second. But what we tried to do is make sure that not only are these all-in-one displays well suited to the open office, but also for meeting rooms. So in the open office, one of the challenges we see is there's a lot of distractions, people walking around, other noises, and we need to curate the experience. And that's where digital cocoon comes in and depth blur. This is a brand new camera system. We use a time of flight sensor that allows us to know the exact distance everyone is from the display, which lets the IT administrator set the distance that the camera should focus. And it will naturally blur everything that's beyond that cocoon, that zone that the IT team has set. And so that's a really incredible experience. It also helps to curate the audio as well. And of course, you can customize all of this in Logitech Sync. And then additionally, we designed it with two different orientations, and it may be easier for me to explain this by showing you. So I put a couple of visuals in on the next couple of slides. But we tried to design this so that you could have the camera above or below. One of the common use cases for all-in-ones is that you have the camera above the display and you're able to whiteboard. But then when you want to sit down and have a seated meeting, you might want the camera below. So if you could go to the next slide so we can show this. So here is a situation in our office where my colleagues are sitting at the table. They're having a meeting in this open office. And of course, they're using the whiteboard. So the camera is above the display. Great use case, perfect for an all-in-one. And they're using Microsoft Whiteboard, which is built in right there to the Teams room experience. If you click again, it's going to show another version of this experience. Here, they've decided to have a seated meeting at a lower height table where you really want the camera to be closer to eye level. In this case, you just pull a latch and flip the display over on its stand there, and the camera is now oriented below. If you go to the next one, I'll show you another use case. Here, this is a multi-purpose room. We've, of course, set this room up kind of like a meeting space in seminar style with people sitting at the tables and we're giving a presentation. Here, we want the camera above for modesty. We want the camera at eye level or above the waistline. And so it's a great use case here. But during that session, we might want to flip it over and have a different experience. And so here you can see we've reconfigured all the tables and flipped that display over. So on the next one here, you'll see that experience just being flipped and remaneuvered. Again, this is maybe for a breakout session. We want to just do some quick brainstorming, whiteboarding, so we can flip that display over. So the point is, Rallyboard 65 unlocks a bunch of new use cases that are not typically found in this all-in-one category, and we think this is incredible. So you can deploy Rallyboard 65 on its stand, as you see it sitting on the screen. You can also deploy it mounted to the wall, which is an incredible solution. Customers are using this to make it really simple to install and support this device because it's a single device in the meeting room. And of course, you can mount it on a display stand, on a table stand as well, if you want to just quickly set it on a credenza or table in order to deploy it that way. So Rallyboard 65, an incredible device, certified for Teams Rooms on Android, and we're working on Teams Rooms on Windows certification now, and we'll be able to bring that very, very soon.
Thanks, Alex. I personally really enjoy these gifts. Going back to Michelle's comments about being nerds, I could see myself using this GIF to like send the message, "Hey, I'm flexible. We can do whatever we have to get it done." But I don't think my mom or husband would understand this GIF, just you guys. So thanks, Alex. Let's talk about Express install for Teams rooms. I've heard and seen that it can be set up in under an hour by just one or two people. Can you tell us more about the use cases and type of customers that inspired this project?
Yeah. So first and foremost, thank you to Microsoft. Kudos to the Microsoft team for defining this category and encouraging people to participate. Logitech is no stranger to coming up with ways to simplify the experience for video conferencing. It's our bread and butter. It's what we've been doing for quite some time. In this case, what we did is we wanted to partner with Microsoft to optimize the speed at which you can deploy a Microsoft Teams room. And so, under those definitions that Microsoft set, we went and we worked with Heckler Design in this case to create two experiences. One is a tabletop stand, and the other is a cart. And of course, everyone has carts. So how is this unique? The cart actually comes flat packed in a small box, and it comes out and deploys in less than 20 minutes with no tools required. It's all hand screws and snaps together. It's an incredible solution. It comes together super, super fast. And then, of course, paired with Logitech's solutions here, you can get a full Teams room up and running, certainly in less than an hour. I think if you watch the video, June maybe does it in less than 20 minutes, but he's an all-star.
Thanks. It definitely took me longer to assemble my kitchen stools. Michelle, would you mind telling us a bit more about Microsoft's vision for Express Install to create this in the first
Yeah.
place?
Yeah, so we know that there are over 1 million Teams rooms out there in the world. I don't think we've announced a new number, so I'll just keep it at the 1 million. Over 1 million Teams room, but we also know there are 15 million, 1 5, bookable rooms out there in the world. And then kind of depending on which report you look at or which study you look at, there are about 60 to 90 non-bookable rooms out there. And so what we hear a lot of customers saying is we want to have more smaller meeting rooms. Even us in Microsoft as customer zero, we also had a challenge where we wanted to deploy more rooms, but there simply wasn't enough budget to deploy those rooms. So we had to figure out a way to not only bring down the cost, but also bring down the ease of installation of for these rooms. So we've been able to bring down the cost at a considerable percentage. And as you see in the video, it's become so much easier to deploy these rooms as well. Also because you don't need things like a permit to drill holes in a wall and run specific cables. You do everything in this one solution. And so what we've been able to do as Microsoft, we've been able to deploy many more rooms across our different offices because of this express install concept. And I'm excited to see that Logitech is working with Heckler to bring this to customers as well. It's such a big opportunity for customers to deploy more rooms. And if you are a Microsoft partner, it's also a big opportunity for you to be able to do more rooms with customers at the same time. So all in all, I'm excited to see the excitement around the express install concept.
Mhm. Thanks so much, Michelle. Let's keep you on here. Could you tell us a bit about the Windows 11 and Android 12 upgrades for
Yeah,
Teams rooms?
yeah, for sure. So Windows 10 is going end of service October 14. And you might say, wait a minute, we're talking Teams Rooms and AI powered workplace, right? Well, Teams Rooms on Windows has compute. And we know that there are still many devices out there that run Windows 10 end of service or Windows 10 on their compute. And since this is going end of service on October 15, it's very important that you start upgrading your devices today. And you might say, but wait a minute, our Windows 11 image it's not ready yet to run. This is not a user device. You're talking about an appliance that does one thing and it does one thing really well, and that's run the Teams Rooms app. So I can advise you all to start upgrading to Windows 11 today. If you don't, we will not deliver any more security updates to this OS. So you actually run a little bit of a risk of having an unsecure solution in your company. Now, there are also some devices out there that can't even upgrade to Windows 11. So that means you have to start looking at a refresh. And I'm sure the Windows 11, the Logitech team is more than happy to help you and make the right solutions there. But it is key to start upgrading today, or at least before October 14th. Now, it's the same story on Windows. What we aim for is making sure all devices stay up to date and that we deliver the best security on devices, and therefore we only support Android up to a certain version. So work with your Logitech representative to see if that Logitech device that you have can upgrade, or if you have to look at a refresh. But I think Rishi, you can tell a lot more about the possibilities in the Logitech portfolio to upgrade when needed.
I'd love to. And let me just start with some simple good news. If you are using a Logitech solution for Teams rooms on Windows, well, there are all these solutions, all are currently certified solutions for Windows 11. In fact, if you've been using these rooms, that is, they get used, they go through the regular upgrade cycles, it's more than likely that several months ago, they've already upgraded to the Windows 11. Now, if you do have a third-party system that Michelle referred to that cannot be upgraded to Windows 11 due to a hardware restriction, of course, you can consider any of our Teams rooms on Windows solutions. And in fact, I'd like to plug a new solution that we've just launched. It's our entry level Teams room. I'm going to paste the product page in the chat, so feel free to connect, link to that. But I'll describe it. It's essentially a Meetup 2 that you may have heard of, the Logitech Meetup 2, our flagship device for huddle rooms that are running Teams rooms on Windows. And it also comes with a new tap controller, which comes with a USB connection, as well as a PC that we partnered with Lenovo with, a based PC. And again, this is a really nice solution to start off with your huddle rooms or rooms where you may not even have a native Teams room solution today, where you may be using BYOD. These are affordable. These are a great way to get started. Now that covers Windows 11 upgrades. So to repeat, the good news is if you're on Logitech, you're likely already upgraded. And if you need to upgrade, there are some good solutions out there. One that I've just pasted below. On the Android side, it's a similar story. And let me just say that if you've not heard this from Logitech before, I should say we care deeply about sustainability and preserving this planet for everyone. And so for us, that means not just using recycled materials in our products and making good, carbon choices in throughout our supply chain, but it's also about extending the life of our products. So our entire range of Teams rooms on Android devices currently run on Android 10, and we have made a commitment to upgrade all of those to Android 12 this year. So we're in the process. We'll share updates with you soon. But rest assured that if you're using a Logitech solution for Teams rooms on Android, it will upgrade to Android 12, and that will extend your support through August of 2029. So again, extending the life of your product, and if you are on certain Android devices that may be going end of life, you can certainly consider our portfolio. Now, one last thing I'll add, coming back to Windows 11, there's also the desktop side of the equation. Yes, we're talking about Teams rooms here, but of course, a lot of you out there in your organizations use Windows at the desktop. You have a number of Logitech peripherals, keyboards, mice, webcams, headsets, speakerphones connected. Just know, again, good news there. They are all Windows 11 ready. They have been Windows 11 ready for some time. So no change needed there. But as you are getting ready to refresh some of your PCs to Windows 11, know that your existing Logitech peripherals will work just fine. So nothing to worry about there. So on that note, Danielle, let me pass it back to you and see what we have left in store.
Yeah, sure. And just a couple comments. It sounds like the gist there is Logitech will upgrade. All of our devices are upgraded and ready to upgrade to Windows 11, Android 12, extending the life cycle of your products. And if you aren't using Logitech, you should be using Logitech. So last but certainly not least, Alex, let's talk about the death of the dongle.
I love this topic. I actually threw out my dongle for my headset today. It's no longer plugged into my PC. Um, we've been really working on trying to improve the experience with headsets. As we all know, a lot of our devices, our desktop devices, our laptops, and so forth, going to our users in the workplace have less and less ports. A lot of devices are unifying around USB-C, and so those ports come at a premium. And what we wanted to do was try to make this a better experience with headsets like the one I'm wearing, which is our Zone Wireless 2 that you see on screen. So what we did is we worked with Intel and with Microsoft to ensure that these headsets could fit into the new native Bluetooth certification spec. And so I'm excited to share that this headset that I'm wearing, Zone Wireless 2, is the first to be certified for Microsoft Teams over native Bluetooth, which means you still get all of the rich functionality like mute sync, Teams buttons, and more, but without having to plug that USB dongle into your device. So, what does this mean for IT? It means a simpler user experience. It means a better overall usage of those ports on your devices. But it also means a slightly lower cost because you're not paying for that extra USB dongle. So, hopefully, everyone enjoys that piece as well. But we didn't just stop with Zone Wireless 2. We also certified our Zone 305 that you see on the screen as well. A Zone 305 is also certified for Microsoft Teams over native Bluetooth. And we're going to continue working that throughout our portfolio, including with our Zone Vibe Wireless, which is an incredible headset for wearing all day, super comfortable. But ultimately, thank you for the partnership with our friends at Intel and Microsoft for helping us to make this pairing and headset experience just absolutely incredible. We think this is a game changer. And right now, we're the only ones doing native Bluetooth. So I'm sure we'll see some more join eventually, but uh, happy to be the first in this category.
The first and only for now, right? Thanks, Alex.
Exactly.
As someone who has misplaced a dongle or two in my day, I'm definitely excited about this certification. That brings us to the end of our prepared content. I see a few questions in the chat. Caitlin, can you get us started with the first question?
I sure can. Just really quickly, guys, if you dropped a question in the chat box and it has not been answered by one of our presenters, please drop it in the Q&A above just so we don't miss it. I see a lot of chatter going on. Thank you, Alex, for answering some of those live. Thank you, John. Okay, so really quick, we're going to start at the top. Michael, this is for you. I believe this is in reference to multi-stream. The question is, will some of these features be available on Android eventually?
Yeah, so I'll let Rishi answer multi-stream Android part. What I will answer is Facilitator and Copilot and speaker attribution, because I think that's when the question came in. Speaker attribution now available on Android as well. I think we started rolling out last week or the week before, so that is available. It's still something the user has to do. So the user has to go into settings and then record their voice profile. They stay in full control. The voice actually stays within the Microsoft tenant, so everything is secure there. And if the user's like, "Hey, I want to export or delete it," they can do it and stay in full control. There is on the admin side, there is a policy that needs to be activated. That policy is now on by default if a customer hasn't changed that yet. So that is on. So that's going to make it a lot easier. But speaker attribution available on Android, and then Facilitator very close to also being available on Teams Rooms and Android. For now, only public preview on Windows, but again, we're super close to shipping that to Android.
And with regard to multi-stream, working very hard with the Microsoft engineering and product teams to bring that to market. No date to share just yet, so do stay tuned.
Great. Thank you both. The next question is around Rally Board 65. So, Alex, if you could take these. The first is, will it be available for use with Tap IP? And then I think you answered this in chat to a degree, but there was a question on cable management. So, if you wanted to expand on that as well here, that would be great.
Absolutely, thanks. And the good news here is the answer to both questions is yes. So Rally Board 65 is already certified for Microsoft Teams rooms on Android, with that Tap IP touch controller, which is fantastic because that means your center of room touch controller can be paired over PoE. So you don't have to have those cables running directly to the device. It connects using PoE over your network. And so that simplifies both the power and the actual connectivity management of that device in the room. You can, of course, also use it without a touch controller. It is a touch active display. And so you can walk up and join directly with no touch controller in the room. But a lot of times, especially if you're putting it in a dedicated meeting room, you might like to have that controller on the table. Tap IP, great solution. Now, we also have certified that with Tap Cat5e. That's our version of Tap that does connect directly to the front of room device. And so that is also an option for Rally Board 65. And then later, as we complete the certification for Teams rooms on Windows, you'll also, of course, be able to use that Tap Cat5e controller as well. So this fits perfectly with the rest of our portfolio. It's super simple. There's not a lot of complicated differences between things like Rally Bar and a display versus Rally Board 65. So very happy to bring that. And of course, on the cable management in all of our devices is incredible. We not only have cable management, but also strain relief to ensure that if a cable does get pulled, it doesn't, break the cable or unplug it from the device. And so that is also integrated into Rally Board 65. There's a great cover on the back and some really nice management and strain relief inside. So all the cables stay tucked away, nice and neat and protected. So that gives you more uptime in your room and less times having to answer a trouble ticket because something got unplugged.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex. And then our final question, and if anyone has any more questions, please, this is your time, drop it in the Q&A. But this one is around Windows 10 end of life. So for you, Michael, um, When or will Microsoft Teams runs on Windows, Windows 10 on Teams app fail to sign in after October 15th, or will they be allowed a grace period?
So the last thing I heard is you'll still be able to sign in, but you're signing in on a device that most likely is not secure. Also, if there's an issue with that device and you reach out to support, the first question they're going to ask you is to upgrade to Windows 11 because there will be no more support on Windows 10 devices after October 15. So will it be able to sign in? Probably will. If it fails, the support will ask you to upgrade to Windows 11 first because we'll stop doing support after October 15 on Windows 10.
And Michelle, I would love to add to that. There was a question earlier on in the chat, I think specifically around a Rally Plus system if it was bought with a NUC with Windows 10. So to add some more color to the answer we've already provided, if you bought that solution along with uh, an entire Logitech bundle, so typically it would be a Rally Plus system, a tap, and a NUC. Bought that as a full bundle from Logitech, you should be covered because we have shipped 3 generations of NUCs based on Bean Canyon, Tiger, and Arena Canyon, and those are all Windows 11 upgradable. And like I had said before, if they're being used as regular course of business for constantly updated, you should already be upgraded to Windows 11. So it's just a matter of going into Teams Admin Center or Pro Portal and confirming that you're ready to go. Now, there's nothing actually stopping customers from putting together their own solutions. So you might have bought Rally Plus system separately, and you may have bought a PC solution, either set it up yourself or bought it separately. In those cases, you do want to look at the hardware more closely and make sure it is upgradable. And if not, then you do have the option to buy just the PC from Logitech. All you need to do is get in touch with your point of contact, whether it's your sales manager at Logitech or a reseller, or if you don't have any of those contacts, just get in touch with our customer success team, support team, and they will hook you up. So again, it really depends on where you bought it, but if you bought it all from Logitech, you're probably already in good shape.
And again, I'll re-emphasize, you're not upgrading a user device. You're upgrading an appliance, which is 2 very different things. You manage both differently as well, right? So this is not about your Windows 11 image for users, whether or not that's ready or not. This is about upgrading an appliance that runs the Teams Rooms app. So it's a very different procedure. Happy to support if you need any on telling that to whoever needs to make the decision whether or not to upgrade. But time's running out. You only have 4.5 months.
No pressure. Okay, thank you, Michael and Rishi. Danielle, back to you.
Yeah, sounds good. No pressure and just solutions. So that's great too. Thank you all for joining us today. I really appreciate you spending your time with us. We look forward to having you at this next series. And Rishi, I'd love to hand it back to you for a big send off.
Well, thanks so much, Danielle, Kate, for putting this together. Thanks, Alex, Michelle, for joining in. Thanks to the audience. As you said, we really enjoy being part of this community along with you. Thanks for the trust you placed in us. Thanks for the time you spend with us. And we'll try to come back to you every month with our alliance partners and all the amazing solutions we're building together. So thanks again and see you soon.